Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Chadish. I'm excited to introduce another interesting topic. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends. In this video, I'm hosting Jenna Medina. Her unique background in both fitness and spirituality make her best fit to be a spiritual coach for individuals and teams. Training as a competitive athlete, she has honed her skills in goal setting, discipline, and motivation. Along with her years of experience in fitness and wellness, Jenna is a certified HeartMath Teams facilitator, Reiki Master under the Canadian Reiki Association, and perfecting her Spinal Flow technique certification. Today, she will talk about HeartMath and Spinal Flow. Jenna, can you please talk about the HeartMath methodology?
Yeah, I love HeartMath. So when I explain HeartMath, I always talk about heart-brain communication. So HeartMath has actually been around for 25 plus years in the US. It was initially used for military and police enforcement because it's how to stay calm in stressful situations. So what we're teaching people is how to tap into your heart space. And when you bring emotions into the heart space with some good breathing, what happens is we can actually change your heart rhythm, so your HRV, and then that changes your brain waves so that we can think clearly and actually create new neural pathways. So it's really good for people when we look at like workspace, which is what I'm bringing it into right now. It's great for like team building, get everyone into a flow state / coherence together. It's really good for like presentations if you're nervous and you just tap back in and you'll know how to switch. So it's kind of like being able to go from a frustration to then like a calm state. So if something triggers you throughout a presentation, you can tap into your heart space, use HeartMath, and allow yourself to get back to heart focused and be calm and be back into coherence, which is really good for like coherent speaking and listening. So that's good. So yeah.
Since you mentioned about stressful situation, I guess especially entrepreneurs and maybe corporate employees use this methodology often, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's actually good for everyone, for sales teams, for entrepreneurs, like any type of high stress environment. It's actually just really good for because it's bringing back a focus. So it's not only good for stress management and anxiety, but also helps with focus and productivity. So when you're looking at like sales teams and you're looking at like entrepreneurs that have important meetings and they're trying to stay focused, it's just allowing yourself to clear your mind and be able to think clearly in stressful situations.
One question about the HeartMath methodology. For instance, for individuals, how long does it take for them, to apply this? For instance, during the day, can they allocate 10 or 15 minutes and kind of, really put their focus back?
Yeah, what's really cool about HeartMath is they do have a biofeedback. So they do have a sensor that you can use just to like understand what it feels like when you're in coherence, because it's very different than just meditating. When you're meditating, meditation, you can kind of get lost in it. Whereas with HeartMath, we're training the heart to stay into a flow of a rhythm. So with the biofeedback, I mean, generally people start 5 to 10 minutes a day. It doesn't take long. And then eventually you don't really need the biofeedback because you understand what it feels like to be in coherence. But they do say the studies as far as when you see like stress reduction and productivity increase and anxiety reduction, you're looking at like 6 to 9 weeks of training. So if you're consistent with HeartMath and you're doing it daily for 6 weeks, you'll notice a huge result. And then from there, for me, it's just so easy for me now because I understand what it feels like to get into a flow state. So for me now, I do it all the time. Even if I'm driving, I'm doing it. Yeah, it's a really cool practice because you can do it with your eyes open and it really can be done anywhere.
Jenna, by the way, how did you meet with this methodology? How did you come up with it, and did someone introduce this? Because you are also a successful entrepreneur. I'm guessing you were maybe looking for such methodologies.
Yeah, so I wasn't actually looking for it. I was introduced to it by a friend, and at the time I was going, I knew that I kind of wanted to switch gears as far as my direction with my business. I did do 10 years in fitness, and I had a really successful e-com business. And then when COVID hit, I just kind of felt like I wasn't really in alignment anymore. So I definitely was feeling lost in knowing that like it was time for me to change directions. And then I was introduced to HeartMath at the time, and HeartMath is kind of what helped me really follow my heart and like open up my intuition and really just like on the path of knowing that there's so many other things on the other side. So I was introduced to it kind of just as a way to practice it myself, because I was very stressed out at the time and I had a lot of anxiety. Definitely not knowing where you're going and what direction you're going in can cause that. So it really helped with my anxiety, but then it also really just opened up my mind to creating new neural pathways and really just exploring new ideas.
Can you also talk about the spinal flow as well?
Yeah, Spinal Flow is really cool. So I do 3 things. I do HeartMath, Reiki, and Spinal Flow. Spinal Flow is actually a new modality. I'm only 1 in 5 in Canada doing it right now. It's really big in Australia. There's like thousands of practitioners in Australia doing it. Spinal Flow was created by a chiropractor, and it stems from the thought that we carry so much trauma in our spine, whether it's physical, mental, or chemical. And when you look at like wild animals, when they go through any type of trauma in the wild, they have this process of shaking and shivering the trauma out of their bodies so that they can survive in the wild. And this is something that humans just don't do at all, which is why we have so much more anxiety and stress, because we're never releasing somatically these feelings out of our body. So with Spinal Flow, it's a soft touch. What we're really doing is we're actually activating your dura mater, which is your spinal fluid, and we're shooting it from the sacrum to your head up and down your spine to remove any trauma that's there, whether that's like physical, emotional, or chemical. So Spinal Flow is really cool. So when I do a one-on-one treatment, I start with HeartMath to get people like heart focused. I'll go into Spinal Flow, and then I'll finish with Reiki, because Reiki is like really relaxing. Yeah.
Jenna, so far, how has the entrepreneurial journey been going so far? Frankly speaking, you inspired me about 5 years ago when you pitched at Dragon's Den. How has the journey been, so far since that pitch?
Well, what I find so interesting about being an entrepreneur and why like I love HeartMath again so much is when you're an entrepreneur and you're kind of like taken out of that 9-to-5 schedule, what happens is you are just firing and wiring your brain so much. And when that happens, you get inspiration. And when you're used to taking action as an entrepreneur, that just continues. There's no really fear to fail because you're just constantly, just diving in. And so, yeah, I actually became an entrepreneur probably like 11 years ago. I started as a makeup artist and fell into fitness. I did the Dragon's Den and the e-com business, which was really cool. And I think just from trying so hard to make that work and failing so much, at this point, nothing kind of scares me in the sense of starting over and redoing it and trying new, definitely new ways of working, right? So, yeah, so it's I think the joy of when you're out of the 9-to-5 and you're not in an office all day, your mind just expands in a way that you don't realize, like, because you're just creating new neural pathways and every day is different. And when you're doing that so often, you get ideas that you wouldn't normally get working in a 9-to-5, because when you're in a routine and you're being consistent, you're never firing and wiring the way that, HeartMath wants you to, so that you can explore new pathways. So yeah, anything like you even just doing the podcast and, just stimulating your mind in a different way by interviewing new people and exploring new ideas is so good for you, because then it's going to create all these other new neural pathways that are going to eventually lead to something else. So I think it's really important for people to be creative outside of the workspace to start. If they want to be an entrepreneur, it's something that does take time, and takes time more getting used to than it does. Really, it's not really just like have a business and launch it. It's I would recommend going part-time and slowly launching and slowly working on your projects and allowing that to expand naturally, like organically. But yeah, it's definitely been amazing. HeartMath is really good too for it as well.
Jen, oftentimes entrepreneurs, are encouraged to do this, hustle culture, working maybe 24/7. Now, looking back to those days, do you believe it's a healthy methodology, to have the hustle culture, or without it, can still the entrepreneurs be successful with a different mindset?
Yeah, I just don't believe in hustle culture anymore. I think that there's such a difference in, I think you always have to take action and have aligned action. So having direction and action are very important, and that lined up with consistency. But actually what I'm finding more now is I think it's more important to focus on me and my energy, my vibration, and expanding my heart radius so I can attract more to me versus feeling like I have to go out all the time and talk to people and build connections when that's not necessarily helping me. So I think that there's this healthy balance. The thing with business that I've always noticed, and a lot of entrepreneurs will say this, is it really doesn't matter how much you hustle. Like if you have a plan and you're consistent with your plan, things are going to unravel the way that they're meant to. Sometimes people find success right away because maybe they're more aligned in what they're doing. And sometimes people are working, their butt offs for years and still not seeing that success. What I've noticed the most is, so when I hear entrepreneurs say when they take a pause and they start to really focus on their own energy, everything flows to them a lot quicker. So yeah, hustle culture, I think, is something that we have to almost kind of just remove from our vocabulary, because I just don't think it's beneficial. I don't think it's something that a lot of people are really I think people are getting more burnt out than they are creating more success for themselves.
As you mentioned, maybe it's a good time to listen to our heart and, just be focused with the HeartMath methodology.
Exactly, yes.
Jenna, thank you so much for this inspirational interview. And as a final question, any plans for upcoming year? I know we are approaching the last quarter of this year. Do you have any plans about the HeartMath methodology, or are you going to be introducing something new as well?
So actually right now what I'm doing more so is workshops for corporate and for sports teams is what I'm looking at. And I'm just looking at, I love HeartMath so much. So, and I love public speaking, and I love sharing it with people and having people understand the concept of what it really means, because it can change lives. So for me right now, I'm just focused on getting the word out there as much as possible and doing as many workshops as I can. Hopefully traveling and doing some workshops would be great as well. When I look at sports teams, I'd love to share HeartMath, but also do a little bit of Reiki and Spinal Flow with them too. We're seeing such a niche in people that need to release physically and just tap into their spiritual side, which is something that a lot of us have been neglecting. So when you look at like sports teams, a lot of athletes just neglect that because they're so focused on the athletic aspect of it, of the physical. So yeah, that would be really cool. So we're working on that right now. And yeah, that's about it.
Once again, thank you so much for our viewers. You can follow Jenna on social media, and also check our website, gmenergywork.ca, which you will find in the comments as well. Thank you so much, Jenna, and hopefully we will talk again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day, and yeah, good luck with everything.
I hope you enjoyed this video. In the next episode, I will be hosting another guest with an inspiring topic. Please subscribe to my channel and share this video. Till next time, always go with the flow, stay awesome, and listen to your heart. Bye for now.